not being scared of failure and embracing it as an art is actually so important in someone's journey. Even Hello and welcome back to BTY. It's been a while since I've done an individual video. Michael himself, we've been able to do a lot of consecutive videos together, and that's always the best. But this evening, I'll be doing an individual video on the art of failure. So, why we need to embrace failure and not just see it as this negative thing. Like, yes, it's important to embrace success, but failure is also so important in our route or journey to success. So, 3 points that I'd like to share with you today on that is failing is important because it means that you've taken risks. So the more risks you take, the more prone you are to failing. But because you're failing more, it also increases your chances of succeeding. So by embracing failure or by looking at failure as an art, it means that in that failure, you were able to say, I'm not going to be scared of failing because when I fail, I can just stand up, dust myself off, and try again. So through trying more, you have a better opportunity of finding a target that you can actually hit the bullseye. Yes, you might not hit the bullseye a couple of times, but what matters is the success that you reach. So that's why not being scared of failure and embracing it as an art is actually so important in someone's journey. Even in my journey, I've experienced quite a number of failures. At some point, I was even failing a school subject, and it just led to me putting in more work and identifying areas that I needed to improve so that I can actually start passing the subject, because it was crucial to pass so that I could get into exams or finish my matric. Yeah, so don't be scared of failure and embrace it. Going into my second point is when you fail, learn something out of it. Take failure as a lesson, but not as a point where you are going to give up. Because if you give up, it means that you did indeed fail and you didn't try. But if you take failure as a lesson and you try again, then you didn't actually fail. You actually got one step closer to success. So let's say you tried a relationship and it didn't work out. In my case, it perhaps didn't work out with a lady. But because I saw it as a learning curve, I looked at what I was doing wrong, how I saw things wrong. I took myself out of the position of being being convinced that it is someone else's fault. It was the next person's fault, but I actually looked at what I did wrong and how I could have done things better. And in that, when I allowed myself the grace to be able to go into another relationship, obviously, after some time, after some healing took place, after the reflection to figure out how I'm going to do this better next time so that the result would be different, and maybe that it could lead to the relationship actually working out for the long term. So in that failure, you could learn a few lessons into how to do things differently and do it in a better way. Yeah, so never look at failure as something negative, or at least try not to. Don't let it affect you too long. Yes, you have a negative emotion, you'll feel sad, you'll be disappointed, might even be angry, but don't let it simmer. Rather get out of that mood as fast as you can and look at how you can then do things a bit differently. So maybe your communication was off in that relationship. So now you can look into having better communication and actually working on it, being intentional about it. So be intentional to learn out of your failures and not just make the same mistakes again and not, like I've said before, give up. Then thirdly, I would say that when it comes to failure, you have to be persistent. You have to develop a mindset of, even though this has happened, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna persist until I reach my goal. So this could be, taking another personal example, um, trying to reach the nationals in athletics. So quite a few years after I came back to Namibia out of South Africa, I continued with my athletics career. And in those few years, let's say grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, and even grade 11 and 12, I never reached nationals, so I never got past regionals. This was either through injury or I maybe I came third instead of second, and they always took the top two or they took the top eight best times. So in grade 8, I didn't make it because I just wasn't in the best position after the race concluded. I was 8, 9, 7, somewhere around there. Then in grade 9, I did well, but I hit an injury right on my peak, so I couldn't compete. Then in grade 10, once again, because we were in age groups that where you had to go up. So I think what happened was I was 16 and or turning 16 and the other guys were turning 17, so didn't make it again just because I wasn't fast enough or I wasn't fit enough. That's another failure, but yet I kept trying. In grade 11, I did really well. I came, I think it was second for the 400-meter hurdles, and I came second or third for triple jump. But in the hurdles, while competing, I was first actually up to the last hurdle. Then I looked back and I saw the guy was quite far. But then looking forward again, I didn't focus because I lost focus looking back. That's why they say never look back in a race. Then I jumped too early. I tumbled over the hurdle. I broke my arm. I rolled. I got back up. I got second place, but I couldn't go and compete in the regionals even then because I broke my arm and I wasn't allowed to compete. That was a major setback in my athletic career because yeah, I was doing so well. I was at my peak. There was no injury and I had to fall and break my arm. From there, grade 12, I got first place in the 400 meter at school. And then from there, I was able to then, um, yeah, to look at the failures that I had coming up to grade 12, not being able to make it up to nationals. But then in grade 12, I think it was during COVID time, so athletics was cut. There wasn't any nationals, something in that line. I can't remember it particularly well. But when I finished school and I was in my first year at university, I was still able to compete at nationals because here I was 18, only turning 19 in November, and nationals was like in June or April, somewhere around there. Then it was the first time I was able to go to a national competition. And at that nationals, I actually came second place, which was really good. I broke my personal best time. I also did 400-meter hurdles. I think I was second or third there. And triple jump, also somewhere in the top six. So that was a breakthrough, and that's just where you look at failure as I'm not I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try again. And I had so much more experience then to take into my first year of university, coming into athletics and being able to compete and do really well. Then an injury hit me and I've only recently in this year started competing in athletics again, having to build myself up. So I could have looked at that as let me give up in athletics, and for some time I thought I'm done. I'm not going to lose the injury, but thankfully through God, I was able to be cleared by the specialist and I'm able to train now again, and I'm just taking it slow. So in all of these three topics, firstly, the art of failure, seeing it as not being afraid to fail, then learning lessons from it, and thirdly, having the persistence to push past failure to get to a point of success. You can then be able to actually get to a point of succeeding in life, because many times we get to a certain point and it's just when we're about to hit our breakthrough we decide we're going to give up, and then we live with a lot of regret. We can look at an illustration from when the guy is digging for a diamond, and right in front of the diamond he only needed to dig a few more inches. He turned around and he gave up, walking away with nothing. So actually looking at failure as an art, embracing it and pushing past it, you can walk away with something instead of nothing. So yeah, that's been it from me here at Better Than Yesterday. And it was always, or it is as always, been a good conversation, being able to talk to you. Thanks for making it to the end. If you did, please be making sure to subscribe, to like, to comment, and yeah, just to enjoy it and don't give up. Push, be persistent, be hardworking, go for your goals. So yeah, that's it here at BTY. Much love. Cheers.